We might find an interesting email like help desk or something, that might be interesting to us at some point. It's all about the information gathering at this point, as much information that we can gather to perform our attack. Now, when it comes to doing penetration testing, which is more of what this course revolves around, we're not going to be doing a ton of this in our day-to-day work. The things I showed you when it came to searching through breach password lists, that's definitely something you're going to do in a day-to-day. If you're doing social engineering engagements, depending on where you go, if you're doing network pen testing, you're probably not going to be touching this kind of stuff. But if you do move into social engineering engagements, you go to a true red team, this is where information gathering and mapping out and stuff becomes important. So the things that I'm showing you, the things you're learning, you may not see again for a long time, but it's still useful information to know how to search for things. But Google is probably far and away your best friend, but there are definitely tools built like this out there to help you sort through these things. Another one that we've touched on and talked about is, have I been pwned, right? Say, have I been pwned, like this. If you haven't heard about this, this is a good thing to sign up for. You can search your email address in here to see if you have been pwned and what breaches you've been a part of. Now, there are tools that are out there that will allow us to search through Have I Been Pwned lists to see if the user that we search has been pwned. But let's take, for example, one of the emails that we just found. We've got Todd at Tesla.com. Let's just try him. This is just for conceptual theory. This isn't for, hey, this is the best method. Obviously, if we searched every single Tesla address like this, it would take forever. That's why there's tools out there. Oh no, Todd has been pwned. Todd was pwned in July of 2018 in the Apollo breach. That was quick, wasn't it? So it looks like he has some information out there. Now, if we were to go find an updated list, or if somebody has his hash and cracked his hash and updates like those clear text password lists, then this becomes dangerous, right? So wasn't expecting to find that, but that's a great first example to grab and see. And this is pretty recent. Thank you for the sub, Resume Thread. I appreciate that. So things like this, critical to look for, right? Hey, Nate Dogg, how's it going, man? So there's a tool that kind of does this for us called Bluto. I've had some issues getting it to work on this machine. I'm going to show you how to install it. Maybe you'll have better luck than I do. And what we're going to do and what it does is it looks through Have I Been Pwned information. It does some active recon. It does try to do like zone transfers, things like that, where it's trying to get more information. So be aware that we are actually hitting the site. There will do some brute forcing as well. So be aware of that. Because Tesla is on the bug bounty program, I'm not concerned about it, but don't just up and run this against any site because you will generate some noise. So if you want to install Bluto, the command is just pip install Bluto. Like this. It is already known by pip. Mine is already installed. So when I went to run it yesterday, I was testing it out because I don't have it. This is my student computer. This is the one I use for you guys. When I went to test it out, it was broken. So if we type in Bluto, let's see. I did fix it. Let me Control C. Okay. So if yours, when you type in Bluto, does not work, it may say something along the lines of an error on the module named olefile, O-L-E-F-I-L-E. You should be able to fix this through the lessons that we have had in the last few weeks. But if you look at the file that was of issue, which I'll type out for you guys in case you're watching this later or following along now, this is the directory. And we're going to edit this datamine.py. And I'll bring this up for you guys. I'll let you guys look at it for a minute. So you see this OL file, and here's the directory. So originally it had something in here where it was importing something else as OL file. Basically, we don't need that. We can just straight up import OL file, OLE, however you say it, and it'll be fine. So make this change to whatever the import originally was to this import, and it will be fine and start functioning. Just make sure you make that little notation there. And then once you do that, let's also go and check out the Bluto GitHub real quick. So if we say Bluto GitHub, and it looks like there's actually two, which is interesting. I didn't know what the difference is. 6 months ago, 4 years ago. All right, well, 6 months ago it is, right? Okay, so it's a DNS recon, brute forcer, DNS zone transfer, wildcard checks, all kinds of stuff, right? It does do active work, brute forcing, zone transfer. So make sure that you know that, as I said, going in. We come in through here, you can see what type of information you can use. So here's some example. They provided an email hunter API key until it's been removed. Who knows? I have never tried this, but you can use an API for email hunter. You can say Bluto-domain, also use an API. The -e uses a very large subdomain list for brute forcing. So if you want to brute force, gives you the install instructions if you need to. And then it has some changelog information here. So we're going to run this. It hung for me last time I ran it, but we can run it again. Maybe you'll have better luck. This is a useful tool if you can get it working. I don't know if it's an issue with the 2019.1 that's on right now, but it works fine on the computer that I have. So if we just type in Bluto and we say tesla.com, the points are for raffles, Davey. Unless you're just trying to get rid of them all. Is search term sufficient? Say yes. Okay. So, some things it does for us. It looks through the name servers, right? This is doing our DNS recon, essentially. It's finding the name servers. It's finding like an NS lookup, essentially, where it's doing the IP address scheme for the name servers. It's found the mail servers here. It goes into Netcraft, which I haven't shown you Netcraft yet, but if you're looking for subdomains, Netcraft is an interesting one. It attempts to do a zone transfer. Now, zone transfers are not common. I have never seen one out in the wild. It should still be something that you should know. But basically, if you're able to do a DNS zone transfer, you are able to get a bunch of subdomains and more information. It's not really an exploit, but it's kind of a vulnerability, I guess. It just allows for more information gathering for us. But we don't have that here. Tests for wildcards. Wildcards are not in place. Now it's going to gather data from Google, Bing, and LinkedIn. It looks like we're having some issues with search.py. It's having an issue finding this document for Bing here. So there may be some issues that are conflicting with either 2019.1 or there's just something in the build that's not working correctly. And we didn't supply a Hunter API key, so we didn't increase our identified email count, but we can also just go search the website like we did. So things that we can do. We'll let this run, see where we get. It does download some data for us as well. It should check through have I been pwned. Let's see if this one does it. And I could be on an older one. But yeah, it does look for compromised account enumeration, staff enumeration, a lot of things. So this is a great all-in-one tool to just kind of look around and see if you can get any more information than you already have. So when it comes down to Looking for subdomains, I listed a bunch of tools earlier like Sublister, but we can also use some things like Netcraft or cert.sh. Let's look at cert.sh first. crt.sh. So this is the kind of the newer way to find subdomains, is looking through these certificates. Actually, I attended a local talk where somebody had built a little script to do just this, and it was finding not just subdomains, but interesting information based on those subdomains. It was actually pretty cool. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to supply a wildcard, which you can see is identified as a % over here. And we're going to just say wildcard.tesla.com. And we're going to hit search. And if we come through here, let me increase the size. It looks a little small on my screen through the live stream. Something that would be interesting, right? I don't know what it is. We may not even get access to it since it's single sign-on. Yeah, we have no connection. But it exists, or did exist, right? So these are the kind of things we want to look for. Image.emails, Cisco guest.tesla.com, API toolbox. Let's try that. Cisco guest. Nothing. We get the old AT&T search page. Okay, let's see. Let me take a drink real quick. My mouth is drying out. Also, cheers while we're at it. All right, guys. Heat Sir. That is probably my favorite meme, and that's all thanks to Twitch. And Davey. Davey helped create that meme and make it a thing. All right. So let's talk a little bit about fingerprinting. Let's look at some tools that we can use and some things we can do here. So one of the tools that I like to use, let's look at Wappalizer. And if we just say download and install, I actually haven't installed it. We have Firefox. Let's just do that. We'll add it to our Firefox here. Add. Okay. And here you go. This is our Wappalizer. So now let's go to Tesla.com on this. Let's see what they're running on. So they've got some sort of JavaScript framework running, Tween Max. They're using jQuery 1.12.4, HTTP2. They've got Amazon Web Services. Looks like they're running an Apache web server. They're doing Amazon load balancing, and they've got Google Tag Manager. I don't know how Heist is running so much anyways. I did put a rate limit on it, but apparently that's not the case. So maybe I'll have to rate limit a little bit more. But this is some interesting things to look at here. We can kind of get an idea of what's running on the front end, what's running on the back end. Now they could, in theory, put false information in the headers or whatever and try to throw us for a loop, right? But we could see like jQuery 1.12.4. Well, I might want to look up jQuery 1.12.4 and see if there's any vulnerabilities with this. There's been vulnerabilities with jQuery in the past. Same thing with this Tween Max 2.0.0. Might want to look those up. Now, it really depends on what you're doing. Since this is a network-focused course and not a web app-focused course, a lot of the time we're worried about the host itself.